So when you see how much maybe have
Call the Village of Johnsburg, April 3rd, 2025. Special meeting of the President Board of Trustees to order at 7 o'clock. On the roll, Trustee Morris, Trustee Hagan, Trustee Plumstein, Trustee Foreman, Trustee Falcon, Trustee here. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. From the floor, Mr. Keel. Mrs. Hagan? There being none, can I have a motion to approve the omnibus agenda? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Sorry, who did that motion?
Trustee Morris, seconded by Trustee Falco. Any discussion or question on the motion?
I'd like to pull the food truck
Okay.
item.
Pulling the food truck item. Anything else that anybody has a concern about? I thought that was going to be the easiest one. I thought we beat that to death. No? No more? Polling? Okay. On the roll, Trustee Morris, Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Lundstein.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Falk. Trustee Lutz. Motion carried. Now can we have a motion to approve the food truck ordinance 24-25-32?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Trustee Hagan, seconded by Trustee Lutzberg. Discussion on the motion. Beth?
I like everything about the amendment, other than the price, the annual price. And I know I mentioned that and didn't get much support, but I'm just going to reiterate it again, that I think $500 is too much for an annual fee.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So Mike and Beth, or Beth and Mike, I should say, will feel that that annual fee is too much. Let's have this, anybody want to have some further discussion on that?
What do you think is
What do
appropriate?
you think is appropriate?
You know, like I said, quoting, Woodstock comes in at 300, Lakemore comes in at 125. I think McHenry is 500. I don't think we're the same caliber as McHenry. I don't think we have the same, we don't have that desirability. Like, there's not like food trucks are beating down our door. So I just think somewhere closer to 300 or even maybe 350 would be more appropriate. But that's just me, myself, and I, and my opinion.
No, I feel the same. I don't think we're in the caliber of McHenry. I don't think we should be on the low end, but I think 500 is a little excessive.
And I know you mentioned, the impact it has on other businesses. Have we done any studies where food trucks really impact the restaurants that we have to support that? I don't know.
If I may, the ordinance committee in the ordinance drafted.
If we tell you may not.
Oh, sorry.
No, okay, no. Thank you, Vinny. No, we appreciate your opinion. Definitely, you may.
Like section 2 of that ordinance drafted said that we were going to annually review the fees to come back before. So if the board wants to consider a lower fee, then we make sure we catch it before the next fiscal year, because it's already categorized that finance wants to see it for the cost of impact that it has to the village and the staff personnel to readjust those fees.
Yeah, I think when we looked at finance was that it's going to be like a cart sitting there for a long time, right? We're competing against another restaurant in town. Is that really fair? That was why we kind of suggested 500. It's something sitting there like
But we
30
only
plus.
have
We have one guy that kind of does that,
I know.
but
I know.
nobody else.
They're offering coffee in the morning, and we don't have that much competition. Maybe I understand that, but if they're offering food during the day and they could go to one of our other restaurants, that is competition.
But said one that is our only regular one is an evening truck only, from what I can see.
Since the year's half over, maybe we do cut it for this year. And then we revisit it at the beginning of next year.
If
Is
you
it on
have
a
it
calendar
built in
year?
that it's an annual review, I think.
It's an annual review.
Yes,
That's what we want to
in
do.
that
Yep.
ordinance, section 2 says it would be revisited before the following fiscal year.
I don't think it's going to affect the bottom line of the budget
No.
in a big way,
Oh, come on, there's a lot of them.
based on what I've observed.
I mean, I'd be okay with less, like 350. And then review it, right? See how it goes. And if we
So
get
we have a
it,
250 and a 350, how about if we just say 300 and get it done?
Sounds good.
How's that work?
That's fine.
Okay, I think we beat it pretty much to death, and I think everybody's ready for it. So, is that okay with you, Beth?
Agreeable.
Okay. So we have a motion, amended motion, I think we need?
Yeah.
So-
To modify, I don't know where. You made your motion.
No, it
Yeah.
was, yeah. Oh, it was you?
I made it,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so I
you're
can,
going to amend your motion.
yes, I
Okay.
can amend my motion.
And then who seconded it? Beth or Mike?
Scott did.
Scott did, I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, so we have Scott, you amended, seconded, okay. Any further discussion on the amended motion?
No.
There being none, trustee Morris, trustee Hagan,
Aye.
trustee Punstein, trustee Foreman,
Aye.
trustee Paul, and trustee Lexler. Motion carried. Okay. On the president's report, Mike might want to talk about the Easter egg hunt, and I guess it's sponsored by Prem, HR Green, and who's AFR?
So yeah, it's actually, I was going to thank all the sponsors. We hit our goal, plus some, thanks to the generous donations from Prem, HR Green, thank you, Junior Skyhawks, Northwestern Mutual, and Advanced Fleet Repair. Like I said before, we increased the eggs this year. It's been a popular growing event, so thank you all. It will take place right outside here, April 19th, starting at 11 o'clock. So hopefully we have some good weather and to see everybody there. But thank you again to the sponsors.
What time do you need people here to help?
Volunteers will be 10:30, setups before that, we got that covered. We also have the bunny locked in as well.
That was gonna be my-
Michael?
No, I don't.
So yes, thank you again.
Okay. That's all I have, and then we'll move on to old business. Move to approve ordinance 24-25-31. An ordinance amending ordinance 0405-09. Zoning certain property commonly known as Creekside to R-4 residential plan development and B3 plan development, and ordinance 06-07-18 classifying certain property commonly known, relating to the property commonly known as Phase 2 of Remington Grove subdivision, Village of Johnsburg improving the final plat of subdivision for Phase 2 of Remington Grove of Johnsburg subdivision contingent upon final review and approval by the village attorney and engineer. Can we have a motion and a second?
A motion to approve.
Motion by trustee Foreman, second. By trustee
Oh, Scott can have it.
Okay. Trustee Letzker. Discussion on the motion. I think we all know what it's about, and we discussed it last time. Any further comments?
So, I don't know if this is the right time for this then. Was there any more discussion or planning for that parcel that they were looking at doing the park?
Address that.
Okay,
Yeah.
please.
The petitioners actually submitted a concept drawing, an early concept drawing to us. They would actually prefer to actually improve it, if I'm correct, Rick?
Yes,
The park,
we would.
so that, it can be an amenity that's seen by the interested buyers of the homes. I know Tim's looked at it initially and responded with some suggestions on some playground, the different playground equipment positioning of it, and we'll continue to work through that. And if you want to make that contingent upon the final park plan coming before the board, we can certainly do that as well.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And
Yes.
as an option, the language in the ordinance you'll see says they're proposing that, if the village finds it acceptable, then that will be done in lieu of the capital improvement fees that they would have to pay otherwise, because they'll go ahead and do those improvements.
So I respectively would ask for a conclusive approval, but I am working with your plan, and I actually like your markup. It was really good, and that's what we're going to move forward with. So how are we doing that, Chrissy? It was a great markup, actually.
So what is the change?
Just I'll let Tim
So
fill you in.
they had the playground equipment tucked in closer to the intersection, and I had requested that they pull the playground more centrally located, away from the intersection, away from the clear zone, so the kids weren't playing right adjacent to the right-of-way or sidewalk. And then I suggested the loop sidewalk, so people can enjoy looking over the street. And then they presented bench locations, we did too. And we moved the swing set and the spinner, just so it looked like it was in the center of, but we left grassed area and open space so the kids can kick a ball or just hang out or play football, whatever. And then we requested natural screening, evergreens and a mix of, from the residents that you'll see on the plan. So when somebody buys that house, there is a barrier that says, this is park, this is your lot. That was our suggestion. And the playground equipment that they had proposed looks pretty cool. So it was a nice variety of activities, probably more for 4-year-old through 12 or 13, which is good. And then the swing set looked like it was nice for adults and kids. I may swing on it.
I'm going to try it out.
I didn't say it.
Walk over and try it out.
It's going to have to be heavy-duty swings.
Tim,
Tim, you and I will go on. That's right.
We'll go on together as a double swing.
Picture of cute.
I want you guys to push.
So Mike, you see where it was proposed?
Yeah.
And I shifted it down and get it away from that intersection.
Yeah.
From Alexander.
This will be busy.
Yeah, it's busy.
you like it too.
Thank you.
Everybody likes it? Okay.
I do have one question. Where do you guys plan on putting your sales sign out there? There's 2 builders out there right today on 31 and
Good
Alexander.
question. I think we probably should have talked about it sooner. I think, definitely inside, we'd like to be, hopefully be able to do something up in the front like the other ones. I assume we'll have to come back for some kind of sign permit in front of the board, or I don't know the permit process, but we'll talk to you too about that. We do have a typical signs. I think they're like more tall than wide. I think they're 3 by 8 or 4 by 8 tall. So we'd like some, hopefully, ability to work with you on that.
It would come before Claudette and Vinnie and them, but I would look at it just so it doesn't obstruct the
Vision.
triangles.
Line of sight.
Line of sight, that's why I would be involved with them, Claudette, Vinnie would look at the size and shape of the temporary sign. I think the last time they just submitted a site plan and I worked with them and looked to make sure it was back far enough, so you're at the stop bar, it doesn't obstruct.
That'd be my question.
The other thing that kind of is out there, and it's not really, I didn't view it as a kind of a critical item for this, but we were going to talk to the HOA about possibly going ahead and pursue a country monument where it was originally planned to go ahead and do that. But we do need to talk to the association about that and make sure that but it's not a must-have item, it's just something we like to do.
because I don't think anything has been created yet. But it's budgeted between phase 1 and 3 already. There's money in there from the houses that sold, the townhouses that sold. Not sure. That's my plan.
So, yeah.
Back to the park really quick. Are you required to put in handicap accessible equipment?
I think it's mainly safety stuff, you know, the bedding that they use and everything, you
Yeah,
know.
mulch is ADA, just like at Rescue Squad Park, we would just share those details.
Just like at the park in Ringwood, I noticed that they have a handicap
Yeah,
accessible.
the Rescue Squad, that border came with an access ramp, we would just share those same details.
I think there's like actual equipment things.
Yes,
I don't know if that's required or not.
I think we should consider it.
Yeah, I mean, again, that would be nice to have. So,
So we'll continue working with
Any other discussion before we take a vote? With there being none, trustee Letzker. Aye. Trustee Falk.
Aye.
Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Flinstein.
Aye.
Trustee Hagan. Aye. Trustee Morse.
Aye.
Motion carried.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. First read, no action, move to approve ordinance 2425-34, amending chapter 33, construction of utility facilities in the right-of-way by adding section 33.25, care of trees in municipal and public utility easements, village right-of-way on village property of the Johnsburg municipal code. Jamie presented that the last time. You want to add to it, Jamie?
Yeah.
It's the first read, so
Yeah,
let's get
this
it
is-
there and see where we can go.
This is the one about mostly the oaks and the elms. Cutting out of season, you had a chance of killing the trees. It was actually Beth that brought that idea up to everybody. And we did look at everything we've got with other towns that have pretty strict ordinances in regards to oaks and elms. We were lucky enough to borrow some pretty good literature because it was already in place. It's more for the power companies when they come to clean out. They will just cut limbs down and it puts the trees in danger of dying. So there is pretty strict amount of time that they can trim these trees. We took the ordinances from like Bow Valley, Barrington, so they have a lot of those kind of trees in that area. We also did bring in somebody, Brian DeBates, who works in one of these villages, and he knows all about these trees. So we brought an expert in to actually educate us on this, and that's pretty much it. We're just trying to save what we have in this area, you know?
Okay, so it's a first read. Anybody have any questions on it now, or?
Just, I mean, is this is going to be enforceable, right? I just want to make sure that we put this language in, but then we can actually go to whoever is trimming trees and say, this
Go
is
ahead,
what you're
Michael.
required to do.
It would not be private property, though. It's only,
In our portion.
Yes.
Right.
I think this is a tool to make them more conscientious about notifying us. Because what state law provides is tree standards, I think those are the ANSI standards. But what I related before about the village of Bull Valley having good luck with these, the ComEd utility representatives coming out, that's what I think this is for. Do I suggest trying to do something outside of those regulations and charging a court on those? No, I don't. This is something I think coaxes them to come in, they look at this online, and I think it's about notification, letting us get involved. For those municipalities that are sensitive about trees, such as Bull Valley, they've had good results with it. it's never come close to going to court. That's what I look to this for.
So does Asplin notice up when they're coming through in the spring or in the summer when they come to do their work? Do they notify the village that they're working within?
So when there was impact adjacent to our property along the golf course, yeah, we received notification, but not village-wide. I haven't received a notification. Like
So, in having conversation, he was the guy that said Johnsburg doesn't have any ordinance, so we just have at it. Are we going to notify Asplin and let them know that we certainly do have language now and don't be reckless?
I would notify our external affairs manager with ComEd and ask for assistance to Asplin, because I just don't have contacts for their subcontractor that performs the work. But I will definitely make sure the external affairs manager is aware once this is passed.
Are they the only ones that do it?
No, they're not. There's others. That's why he's got to come in.
Yeah.
Because that's a contracted service that they use. And Asplin traditionally wins those, but I've seen others out there.
Yeah, so we would notify ComEd, and they would then notify their subcontractors.
That we've ordinanced up.
Yeah.
We're ready.
And they could put that in their bid package when they put that out for that contract. Like any work within Johnsburg, here's the special conditions.
Hey, Tim, what they're doing on 31 there in Crystal Lake by Terracotta, for that right away for the 31
So sad.
lighting, and that's all in IDOT right away.
IDOT purchased that over the last several years, and that's all IDOT right away now, so they have...
So did they have to go to Prairie Grove or Crystal Lake or McHenry and say, because it all had to be done before the end of March because of the long-eared bats, correct?
Right.
So do they have to go to the Prairie Groves and the Crystal Lakes and tell them, hey, we're starting March 1st, and you might get some unhappy calls from residents, or?
They do, yeah. IDOT, that's a contract led by IDOT, and they did notify all the municipalities. And then there is as the next step, there's a tree replacement fund that gets established, just like what happened with the village here when Johnsburg Road was done. So the consultants go out and measure the trees. They also look at the species. Oak trees have very high comp ratio. Like if you cut one of them down, it's 3-foot diameter, you probably gotta give funding for 20 trees. 23-inch trees, but still.
There's
So-
these trees.
Yeah.
They're gonna put 2 lanes in each direction with center medians and a trail, 8-foot thing. So they're gonna do some parkway trees, but each community will be given a fund of X dollars of the impact to use within a mile or mile and a half of the project.
So when they started and they notify Crystal Lake, McHenry, Prairie Grove, does Prairie Grove call these people and say, right out your backyard where those berms, because they took evergreens on berms.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what Prairie Grove did. I can't even tell you what McHenry did. So I would assume that they were notified, and sometimes the contractors will hang door tags and things, but it's too late by then.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Okay.
Any further concerns? It's a first read, so if you have any, bring them up and we'll try to get answers for it. Okay? Any other discussion? With there being none, I'll,
I did have one more thing.
Okay, go
I just
ahead.
wanted to get it on our calendars on May 5th. Java's having an expo, small expo,
Nope.
like we, May 5th, or sorry,
No.
May 2nd. It's for Cinco de Mayo, but it's May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd. So,
where will that be at, Josh?
at Raymond's, same thing as last year.
Okay.
So, just so we can have a booth prepared, and some little tchotchkes to
Okay.
hand out.
All right.
Also add one thing for me, please.
Yes.
Just with the weather changing and getting nicer, this was brought to my attention by actually one of my committee members. I don't think it's an extreme problem, but maybe in the e-blast, remind residents driving that those flashy lights on the crosswalks mean to stop. I've been told by a couple people, and one in particular that sees it a lot, that they're blowing through them, trying. So I think at this point, just a reminder, as more people are out and about.
I think it's a great idea. What about, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, when I go to other municipalities, other cities, other villages, they have the little yellow guy in the center of the lane that says state law, requires you to stop for pedestrians. You see them all over the place. Is that something that maybe should be considered besides that? Because they use them all over the place.
Yeah, but I don't think we could put it in the middle because
They're right in the middle of the road.
we got turn lanes there.
Well, it's in the middle of the yellow lines.
You would think the yellow flashing lights are enough.
Yeah, the little man
I said
needs
you
to
would think
stand.
the yellow flashing lights are enough.
You would think, but correct me if I'm wrong, Chief,
We need a little man.
it's still not required for them to stop even if they have flashing lights going on.
So once the pedestrian enters the crosswalk, then the pedestrian owns that territory to the other side of the road. The issue being when they hit the flashing lights come on, the pedestrian is not in the crosswalk, the vehicle is not necessarily required to stop. It's a complicated situation, to say the least. Obviously, most people generally understand when that light is flashing, they should begin slowing down and prepare to stop, but they don't. And again, until the pedestrian's in the crosswalk, you don't have that violation. Like, if the pedestrian's in the crosswalk, the vehicle then goes around or forces the pedestrian back to safety, that would be the violation. So,
Okay. So I guess the thing, when we do the e-blast and stuff, can we remind people of that? And,
Be cognizant of that.
pay attention to that, you're supposed to, I don't know how else you can handle it.
Yeah, maybe we could put something out for a special event, but I don't know how you do it during.
Does the little man just stand there, or is he attached
It's
to
a
the
little
road?
plastic
The
man,
little
you see
man's
them
gotta
all
get
over the
ahead.
place, right in the middle of the road. And it
It
says state law.
it does draw your attention.
Are they major arterial?
gonna be great to see it like spinning up in the air and somebody hits
Little
it.
man's gotta get ahead.
Yeah. How long does it last?
In Belvedere, it's on the 69 highway.
Yeah,
And it says state law requires you to stop when the
you see
pedestrian.
him. And it glows in the dark too, I think.
Yes.
Reminders.
Another, yeah.
Reminders
So,
are
I
easy.
mean, if it helps.
Something in there would be
Hit the
nice.
kid that's crossing the road.
It's just, maybe it's something we can look into, Vinnie and the chief, and see if it's feasible to even do.
I'm sorry, I was having a conversation.
I know you were. No, thanks. It's about the little guy in the road that says state law requires you to stop.
Okay.
So, maybe you and chief can look into it, see where we could put them, where those flashing yellow lights are, and maybe it's more important to put it where there's a crosswalk and the flashing yellow lights aren't. Maybe that's where they should be. Or maybe they should be in both places.
Are you adding it on the little guy or just the yellow sign that has a spring, so when cars hit it, it flexes like those?
Yeah, that's the little guy.
The little guy actually flexes too.
Yeah, he flexes, yeah. He's a bodybuilder. Okay? Well, let's look into it and see what we can.
Just don't look at me.
Thank you.
How many things can he do?
With that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn? Unless you have something else, Mike, you do?
No, that was a good motion.
Okay. Motion by trustee Falk, seconded by
I'll second.
trustee Foreman. Any discussion on the motion? There being none, trustee Morris, trustee Hagan,
Aye.
trustee Kleinstein, trustee Foreman,
Aye.
trustee Falk, trustee Lester. Meeting adjourned. Are we supposed to hang these up, or are you just changing them?
I gave one everyone in case you're somewhere that